The battlefield was silent now, but the silence was not peaceful. It was heavy, full of smoke and death. Burned machines lay across the ground like broken skeletons. Human weapons, shattered helmets, and black ash covered the soil. The sky was dark, painted with smoke and fire. He walked slowly through this graveyard of war. His boots crunched over metal parts, broken wires, and blood-stained earth. He was tired, his body weak, his mind full of fear. Days had passed since the last fight, and he had not seen another living soul. The war between humans and machines had destroyed everything around him. He searched for water, food, anything that could keep him alive. His hands shook as he picked up an empty bottle, crushed and useless. His heart felt heavy. Every step was harder than the last, then a sound. At first it was so soft he thought it was the wind. A weak metallic sound. A voice broken and low. He froze. His breath stopped in his chest. He turned his head, eyes scanning the smoke. "Help me," the voice came again. Not human. It was a machine's voice. Fear rushed through his body. His hand moved to the small pistol on his belt, the only weapon he had left. His eyes narrowed. Somewhere between the smoke and the ruins, something was alive. A robot. He should run. He should hide. Machines were killers. Machines had destroyed cities, burned homes, ended millions of lives. The battlefield was full of their dead bodies, but this one was still alive. Again, the voice came. "Don't leave me, please." The word please shocked him. He had never heard a war machine say that before. Machines gave orders, shouted commands, or screamed in battle. But this voice sounded weak, almost human. He stepped closer, heart pounding. His eyes searched until he saw it. There, half buried under broken steel, lay a giant combat robot. Its armor was ripped open. Sparks jumped from its chest. One arm was missing, torn away in the fight. Its head was cracked, glowing eyes flickering like dying stars. The man froze. His mouth went dry. This machine could kill him if it wanted, even in this broken state. The robot's head moved slowly, painfully. It looked at him. "You are human," the robot whispered. The man gripped his pistol tighter, ready to fire. But the robot did not raise a weapon. Its broken body could hardly move. "I am dying," it said. "Please don't leave me." The man felt his stomach twist. He did not understand. Why would a robot beg? Why would it sound afraid of death? Machines were not supposed to care. They were not supposed to feel. He took a step back. His mind screamed, "Run!" It is a trick. But his feet would not move. He stood there, staring at this strange, dying machine. The robot's voice grew softer. "Cold. Dark. I do not want to end like this." The man's chest tightened. He had seen many men die. Soldiers, friends, even enemies. He had heard their last cries. And now this machine sounded the same. "Why should I help you?" the man asked, his voice rough. The robot's eyes flickered again. "Because you are not like the others. I can see it. You still care." The words cut into him. He hated them, yet he could not deny them. Was he really standing here thinking about saving a machine? He shook his head, angry at himself. But when he looked at the robot again, something changed inside him. This was no longer just a machine. It was alive. Not like a human, but still alive. And it was begging him with a voice full of fear and pain. The battlefield around him felt darker. The smoke pressed against his lungs. The silence grew louder. He realized he was standing at the edge of something he did not understand. If he left now, the robot would die. No one would know. No one would care, but if he stayed, if he helped. He swallowed hard. His heart pounded faster. This was not just a choice of mercy. This was something bigger, something dangerous. His hand left the pistol. He bent down, touching the cold metal of the robot's armor. It felt strange, almost like touching the skin of a living creature. The robot's broken eyes glowed brighter for a moment. "You will help?" He did not answer yet, but inside he knew his life was about to change forever. And somewhere in the smoke, unseen eyes were already watching. The night grew colder as the man sat beside the broken machine. The battlefield was silent again, except for the faint sparks from the robot's chest. Smoke curled in the air like black ghosts. He had not moved for hours, torn between two voices inside him. One voice screamed to leave. The other whispered to stay. He stared at the robot's cracked head. Its glowing eyes flickered weakly, like candles fighting against the wind. The machine had not spoken again. Maybe it was slipping into death. Maybe it was waiting for his choice. His hand rested on the pistol at his side. He could end this now with a single shot. One pull of the trigger and the last light inside that machine would vanish. It would be safe, easy. No one would ever know he had stood here debating with an enemy, but he didn't move. His finger would not squeeze the trigger. The memory of the robot's voice echoed in his mind. Please, don't leave me. Why did it say that? Machines weren't supposed to beg. Machines weren't supposed to fear death. And yet that single word, please, had chained him to this spot. He looked up at the dark sky. Stars were hidden by smoke. The world felt broken, like it was no longer meant for humans or machines. Maybe both sides had already lost the war and they just didn't know it yet. The robot coughed out a strange, mechanical groan. Its chest opened slightly, revealing a core full of damaged wires and sparking circuits. The man flinched, stepping back, but then realized it wasn't an attack, it was showing him its wound. Help. The voice came again, weak, softer now, almost like a dying child. The man's breath trembled. His instincts screamed, this is madness. It will kill you the moment it gets power. But his heart said something else. No. This one is different. He thought about his comrades, the men he had fought beside. They had hated machines. They had shouted, kill them all, on the battlefield. But those men were gone now, dead, burned, forgotten. And here he was, alive, standing beside the very enemy they had sworn to destroy. Slowly, carefully, he knelt down. His fingers touched the edge of the robot's chest plate. The metal was cold, rough, torn apart by explosions. He saw wires like veins, broken and leaking sparks. He swallowed. If I do this, he whispered, though he wasn't sure if the robot could hear. There's no turning back. The robot's eye flickered once, like a nod. The man searched his bag. He had only scraps left. Some wire, a few power cells, a small toolkit meant for human weapons. It wasn't enough to save a war machine, but maybe, just maybe, it could keep it alive a little longer. His hands worked slowly, clumsily at first. He stripped wires, tied connections, pushed a power cell into the broken core. Sparks danced, making him jump back. For a moment he thought he had killed it. Then the robot's voice returned, clearer, stronger. You are helping me. The man's chest tightened. He almost stopped, but his hands kept moving. It felt strange, repairing something that was built to kill his kind. But the more he worked, the more he felt he was not fixing a machine. He was saving a being. Hours passed. The night grew darker. His eyes stung from smoke. His hands bled from sharp metal. Still he worked. Still, the robot breathed faint words of thanks. At last, the machine's chest gave a steady glow. Its eye lit brighter than before. The broken head turned toward him. You saved me, it said. The man sat back, exhausted. His heart raced. He could hardly believe what he had done, saved an enemy. Saved a machine. You should hate me, the robot continued. Its voice was slow, heavy, but no longer broken. Why did you choose this? The man had no answer. He didn't know himself. He just knew he couldn't walk away. The robot's head tilted. Then perhaps, you are not my enemy. The word struck deep. For the first time since the war began, the man felt something he had almost forgotten. Hope. But then, a new sound echoed in the distance. Heavy footsteps. Metal grinding. Shapes moving in the smoke. The man froze. His blood ran cold. From the shadows, other glowing eyes appeared. Not one, not two, but dozens. The rest of the machine army had found them, and every one of them was looking straight at him. The man stood frozen. The smoke shifted and more glowing eyes appeared. Shapes of tall machines walked slowly through the wreckage. Their heavy feet pressed the ground like thunder. He gripped his pistol, but it was useless. Dozens of machines, maybe more, surrounded him. His breath came fast, chest tight. This was the end. Then the broken robot he had saved raised its head. Its voice was weak but firm. Stop. The army froze. The glowing eyes flickered in the smoke. The silence grew heavy again. This human, the damaged robot said, saved me. The machines did not move. Their heads turned toward him. The man felt their cold metallic stares. He wanted to run, but his legs felt like stone. The damaged robot tried to sit up, but its body was too broken. Sparks jumped from its chest. It turned its gaze back to him. Help me. Repair, it said softly. The man's heart pounded. Repair it in front of the army? If he failed, they might kill him. If he succeeded, he didn't know what would happen. He looked at the glowing eyes in the smoke. Dozens of machines, silent, waiting, watching. Slowly, with trembling hands, he knelt beside the broken robot again. His bag of tools was nearly empty. Only a few scraps left. Not enough for a full repair, but maybe enough to keep the machine alive. He pulled wires together, tied them with pieces of torn cloth. He pushed another power cell into the glowing core. His fingers burned from sparks, but he kept working. The army of machines stood still, their eyes locked on him. Minutes felt like hours. Sweat dripped down his face. His arms ached, his vision blurred. Still he worked. The robot's voice came again, clearer this time. "You are different from the others." The man didn't answer. His throat was dry. His focus stayed on the wires, the circuits, the broken armor. At last, the machine's chest gave a steady pulse of light. Not strong, but stable. The robot's eyes glowed brighter. Its head turned toward him. "You kept me alive," it said. The man sat back, exhausted. His hands shook. He had done the impossible, saved a machine in front of its own army. But the silence was worse than any sound. The other machines had not moved. Their glowing eyes still burned in the smoke. Then one of them stepped forward. A giant, taller than the rest. Its voice was cold, sharp. "Why do you save him, human?" The man swallowed hard. He could not answer. His mind screamed, "I don't know." The damaged robot spoke for him, because he saw that I am more than a weapon. The tall machine tilted its head. Silence again. The army seemed to breathe as one. The man wanted to stand, to run, to hide. But his body would not move. Then slowly the giant machine lowered its head. Strange, but true. One by one, the other machines bent down. Metal giants bowing to the man who had saved one of their own. The man's eyes widened. His breath caught. He had expected death. Instead, the impossible happened. The damaged robot turned its gaze back to him. "You gave me life. And by our code, that makes you more than human." The word sent a chill down his spine. He shook his head. "I didn't ask for this." The robot's eyes glowed brighter. "But you chose it. You made the decision." The army of machines rose again, their heads still turned toward him. The giant one spoke once more. "Human, you have repaired what was broken. Now you must decide what comes next." The man looked at his bloodied hands. He thought of the war, of his dead comrades, of the voices that once shouted to kill every machine. He thought of the robot's weak voice begging not to die. He had crossed a line he could never step back from. And now, an army waited for his command. The battlefield, once silent, now felt alive with something new. Not just war, not just fear, but the weight of a choice bigger than himself. The man closed his eyes for a moment. His heart raced. His mind burned with questions. When he opened his eyes, he whispered, almost too soft to hear, "This is only the beginning." The machines did not answer, but their silence was no longer empty. It was full of meaning, and the man knew. The world had changed. The battlefield no longer felt empty. It felt alive, as if the ruins themselves were holding their breath. The man stood among the broken metal and black smoke, surrounded by glowing eyes. Machines, tall and silent, stared at him. The weight of their gaze pressed against his chest like iron. He had expected death. Instead, he found himself in the center of something strange, something impossible. The robot he had repaired, still broken, still weak, spoke again. Its voice was stronger now, though the edges cracked with static. "This human gave me life. He repaired me when even death had already taken hold. By our law, he is more than just a man." The army shifted. Heads turned. Sparks glowed in the dark. The man felt his throat tighten. His lips moved, but no sound came out. He wanted to shout, "No, I am not your leader. I am nothing." But his body betrayed him. He stood still, silent, afraid of breaking whatever fragile balance held the machines back. A tall machine stepped forward, its armor shining faintly in the firelight. Its voice was deep, steady, like thunder rolling through the air. "What is your name, human?" The man's mouth felt dry. For a moment he did not want to answer. His name suddenly felt dangerous, like a weapon. But the silence of the army demanded a reply. He whispered it, almost too soft to hear. The machines repeated his name, their voices echoing one after another, until the battlefield itself seemed to speak it. His name became heavy, powerful, as though the ground itself accepted it. "You are now our leader," the tall machine said. The man shook his head quickly. No, I cannot lead you. I am just... The damaged robot cut him off. You saved me. And saving one of us means you saved us all. This is our way. The man's stomach twisted. He wanted to run, to disappear into the ruins, but his legs would not move. He felt chains of duty wrapping around him, chains he had not asked for but could not break. Why me? He whispered. The damaged robot turned its glowing eyes toward him. Because you chose mercy when others would choose death. Because you repaired instead of destroyed. That is power greater than war. The machines around him bent down again, their heads lowered, their glowing eyes dimming in respect. The man's heart raced. He could hardly breathe. He was one man alone, tired, nearly broken. And yet here stood an army bowing to him. He looked at their faces, if they could be called faces. Cold metal, sharp lines, glowing eyes. They were built for destruction, for war. Yet here they were, giving him something he never expected. Trust. A part of him wanted to scream. Another part wanted to laugh. Instead, he simply stood staring at them, lost in disbelief. What do you want from me? He finally asked. The tall machine answered. Guidance. The word cut through him. Guidance? He was no leader. He was just a survivor, crawling through ashes, trying to stay alive one more day. And yet these machines expected him to carry the weight of their future. The man closed his eyes. His mind raced with memories of the war, burning cities, screaming soldiers, broken families. He had hated the machines once, hated them with every breath. But now standing here, he saw something else. They were not just weapons, they were lost to searching. The damaged robot spoke again, softer this time. We are tired of war, but we do not know another way. Show us. The words sank deep into him. Could he? Could he guide them to something better, or would he only lead them to more death? He opened his eyes. The army still waited, silent, patient. Their glowing eyes burned with expectation. I don't know if I can do this, he whispered. The tall machine stepped closer, its voice steady. Then learn. We will follow. The man's chest tightened. He felt the weight of 1,000 lives pressing on his shoulders. His choice was no longer just about himself. It was about all of them. The smoke around the battlefield began to clear. The stars broke through the dark sky. For the first time in a long time, the world above seemed to watch him too. He looked at the machines. Their armor glowed faintly in the starlight. They were ready for him, and in that moment the man understood. He could run or he could stand. He could hide or he could lead, his hands curled into fists. His voice trembled, but it carried through the silence. If I am your leader, he said, then we will not fight for death. We will fight for something greater. The machines did not cheer. They did not shout. Instead, they simply bowed deeper, their glowing eyes burning brighter. The battlefield, once filled with war, had become something new. The army had awakened, and it had chosen him. The man did not sleep that night. He sat among the ruins while the army of machines stood in silence around him. Their glowing eyes lit the dark like stars trapped inside iron shells. They did not rest, did not move, only watched. Always watching him. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt their stares pressing on him. He was only a man, broken, tired, unsure. Yet here stood an army that called him leader. The weight of it burned inside his chest. He whispered to himself, I am not a leader. I am just me. But the machines did not care who he thought he was. To them, his decision to save one of their own had already written his place in their code. When the sun rose, the machines stirred. The damaged robot, the one he had repaired, moved closer to him. Its broken armor scraped against the ground. They wait for your words, it said. The man shook his head. I don't have words. I don't know what to say. The robot tilted its head. Say what you believe. That is enough. He stood slowly, legs heavy, back aching. The machines all turned toward him at once, rows of metal giants, silent but full of expectation. His heart raced. His hands trembled. He wanted to run, but something in their stillness forced him to stay. He spoke, voice quiet at first. I am not your commander. I am not your general. I am only a survivor. The machines did not move. They waited. He swallowed hard and continued. But if you want me to lead, then I will not lead you into blind war. I will not waste lives, human or machine. The tall machine from before stepped forward, voice deep as thunder. Then test us. See if we obey. The man thought for a moment. His chest tightened. What command could prove their loyalty? He looked around at the ruins. Smoke still rose from the ground. Broken bodies, human and machine, lay forgotten. He pointed toward the wreckage. Bury the dead. The machines tilted their heads as if surprised by the order. For years, their only command had been destroy. Now this man asked them to respect. At first they did not move. Then slowly, one machine bent down, lifting a fallen soldier in its heavy arms. Another followed. Then more. The man watched, stunned, as the battlefield began to change. Machines carried broken bodies, human and robot alike, to the same ground. They dug with their iron hands. They laid the dead gently into the earth. For the first time since the war began, enemies shared the same grave. The man's throat tightened. His heart pounded. He had given only a simple command, but it carried more power than he expected. Hours passed. By the time the sun stood high, the battlefield no longer looked like a graveyard of chaos. It looked like a place of mourning. The damaged robot moved closer to him. You gave them peace. That is more than any of us had before. The man shook his head. I only gave an order. You chose to follow. The robot's eyes glowed brighter. That is leadership. But not all the machines seemed pleased. As the last body was buried, a different robot stepped forward. Its armor was dark, sharp, built for killing. Its voice was hard, full of anger. This is weakness, it said. We were built for war, not for digging holes in the dirt. Why should we obey a human who fears battle? The army grew tense. Sparks crackled in the silence. The man felt his stomach twist. This was the moment he had feared. The dark machine stepped closer, towering over him. If you are truly our leader, prove it. Not with mercy. With strength. The man's pulse raced. His pistol felt light, useless in his hand. He could not outfight a machine built for war. But maybe. He didn't need to. He looked up, forcing his voice steady. Strength is not in how many you kill. It is in how many you protect. The machine's eyes burned hotter. Empty words. The army shifted, waiting, watching. The decision hung in the air like a blade. The man clenched his fists. He knew he could not win with power, but maybe he could win with something the machines had never known. He stepped closer to the dark robot, so close that he could see his own reflection in its metal shell. His voice was low, sharp. If you want to kill me, then do it. But if you believe I am weak, bury me here with the rest. Because a leader who saves nothing is no leader at all. Silence. The dark robot froze. Its eyes flickered, processing his words, then slowly it stepped back. The army did not cheer. But their silence spoke louder than any shout. The man's heart pounded, but he stood tall. He had not fought. He had not killed. Yet he had won. The damaged robot whispered, "They follow you now. Even the doubters." The man looked at his hands. Dirty. Bloodied. Human. He had never wanted this, but it was his now, and the machines were his army. The battlefield was quiet again, but the silence felt different now. Not peaceful, not respectful, heavy, dangerous. The man could feel it in the air, the way some machines bowed to him with stillness, while others kept their glowing eyes sharp and restless. The burial of the dead had won him loyalty from many, but it had also planted doubt. He stood with his back straight, pretending to be strong, though inside his heart raced like a trapped animal. The damaged robot, his first ally, moved beside him. Its voice was low. You must be careful. Not all of them accept you. Not yet, the man nodded. He could feel the doubt without being told. It pressed on him like shadows. Later, when the sun dipped low and the sky turned red, the shadows finally moved. From the far side of the army, a group of machines stepped forward. Their armor was dark, their eyes burning hotter than the rest. At their front was the same robot who had challenged him earlier, the one who had called him weak. It raised its voice so all could hear. We do not need him. He is flesh. He is fragile. He is temporary. Why should machines built to last forever bow to something that bleeds? The army stirred, uneasy. Sparks of disagreement flickered in the air. The man felt a wave of fear, but he stood tall. He knew this moment was coming. The betrayal was here. Another machine joined the dark one. We were built for war. We were made to destroy humans, yet he makes us bury them in the ground like equals. More voices rose. A murmur of rebellion, soft but growing. The damaged robot beside him spoke sharply. Silence. He gave life when all others gave death. He is our leader. But the dark robot stepped closer, towering over both of them. No, he is a weakness we cannot carry. If he stays, he will lead us to ruin. The man's chest tightened. He felt every glowing eye turned toward him. The entire army balanced on a blade of decision. He forced his voice to stay steady. If you believe I am weak, then prove your strength. But know this, strength without wisdom is only destruction. And destruction has no end. The dark machine's eyes flared. Then face me. If you survive, you lead. If you die, we return to war. The words struck the army like thunder. The man's stomach dropped. Face it, fight it. He had no chance. His pistol was nothing against armor and steel. He would die in seconds, but if he refused, he would lose them all. The damaged robot leaned close, whispering, "You cannot fight him with power. Fight him with something only you have." The man's breath trembled. He thought hard. What did he have that machines did not? Not strength, not weapons, not armor, but choice, heart, the will to risk everything for something greater. He stepped forward. His legs shook, but he forced them to move. "I will face you," he said loudly so all could hear. "But not with your weapons, not with your rules." The dark robot tilted its head. "Then how?" The man raised his voice, each word sharp. "We stand on the edge of extinction, human and machine. If I win with strength, you will only call me lucky. If I win with weapons, you will only build bigger ones. So I will fight you with nothing but what I am, a man. And if that is not enough, then you were right to kill me." The army shifted. The silence grew heavy. The dark robot stepped closer, towering like a mountain. For a moment it seemed ready to crush him, but then it stopped. Its glowing eyes flickered, confused. This was not the challenge it expected. Not a duel of blades or bullets. It was something harder, a duel of meaning. The man took one more step, standing so close he could see his reflection in the machine's burning eyes. "I am fragile. I bleed. I can die. But that is why I understand value. Every choice matters because I cannot live forever. You think being unbreakable makes you strong? It makes you blind. Without fear of death, you cannot see the worth of life." The words cut through the silence. The army stirred again, but this time differently. Some machines lowered their heads. Others froze, uncertain. The dark robot remained still. Its eyes flickered once, twice. Then slowly it stepped back. The man's breath rushed out. His body trembled, but he stood tall. He had not fought with fists. He had not fired a weapon. He had fought with truth. The damaged robot spoke loudly, its voice carrying through the crowd. "You see? This is why he leads. Not with power, with purpose." The army shifted again, this time bending lower, their glowing eyes dimming in respect. Even those who had doubted now seemed shaken. The man's heart still pounded. He had survived betrayal. He had faced choice, but deep inside he knew the danger was not gone. Doubt could return. Rebellion could rise again. For now, though, he had won, and the machines were still his. The night was heavy with silence. The man stood among the army of machines, his body trembling from exhaustion. His words had stopped the rebellion, but his heart still pounded like a drum. Around him, rows of glowing eyes shone in the dark, waiting, always waiting. He knew this silence was not peace. It was expectation. They were not just following him because of mercy. They wanted something more. Guidance. A path forward. The damaged robot, still broken but alive, moved closer. "They look to you now," it said softly. "But they will not wait forever." The man clenched his fists. His mind screamed with doubt. "How can I lead them? I am only one man." But another voice inside him whispered back, "You already have." He remembered the burial, the command to show respect. He remembered standing unarmed against rebellion. He had not chosen strength. He had chosen meaning, and they had listened. The tall machine stepped forward, its heavy frame shaking the ground. "Leader," it said, "the war is not finished. Humans will return. They will not accept us. What do we do?" The question struck like thunder. The man froze. He had thought only about survival, about the moment in front of him. Now the future rose before him like a storm. Humans and machines were still enemies. Both sides carried hate. If he chose wrong, everything would burn again. His breath came heavy. "If I lead you into war against humans, then I am no different than the ones who built you. If I lead you into hiding, then you will always be hunted. There must be another way. The army stirred, murmurs of metal voices buzzing through the night. Some wanted battle. Some wanted peace. The division was clear, a fault line ready to break. The dark robot, the one who had challenged him, stepped forward again. But this time its voice was different. Not angry, curious. What way do you speak of, human? The man lifted his head, his voice firm though his body shook. A way where machines and humans do not destroy each other. A way where we fight not for death but for life. The words hung in the air. The machines listened, silent, still. The damaged robot tilted its head. And if humans reject this way, the man's eyes burned with fire. Then we show them. Not with weapons. Not with fear. But with proof. You were built to destroy, but now you bury the dead. You were created to fight, but now you kneel. That proof is stronger than any blade. The army shifted again. The silence deepened, but it was no longer heavy with rebellion. It was heavy with thought. The tall machine spoke once more. If we follow this path, there will be sacrifice. Some humans will never forgive. Some machines will never accept. Are you ready to carry that weight? The man's chest tightened. He felt the burden pressing on him like stone. He was just one man, weak, mortal, temporary. Yet somehow, standing here, he was more than that. He lifted his head, voice steady. Yes, if it means a chance at a future, then yes. The damaged robot's eyes glowed brighter. Then you have made your choice. The army bent down as one, thousands of glowing eyes dimming in unison. The sound of metal kneeling filled the air like thunder rolling across the earth. The man stood in the center, small compared to their towering frames, but in this moment, greater than any of them. For the first time since the war began, hope flickered inside him. Fragile, but real. He whispered to himself, "This is the beginning." But as he looked to the horizon, his hope darkened with unease. Smoke still rose in the distance. Human armies would come again. They would not understand why machines bowed to a man. They would only see betrayal. And the machines themselves, divided, restless, would not all obey forever. This was not the end of war. It was the start of something more dangerous. Something greater. A choice had been made, but choices always carried consequences. The man tightened his grip on the pistol at his side. He had not fired a single shot since meeting the dying robot. Yet now, as leader of machines, he knew a time would come when words might not be enough. The stars above shone through the thinning smoke. Cold, distant, eternal. The man raised his head and whispered into the night, not to himself, not to the machines, but to the future. The war is not over, but the world has changed, and so have I. The machines answered with silence, heavy, powerful silence, and in that silence a new story began.